Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. I want to do a review today of the John Lennon Mind Games vinyl content. So whether it's in the Super Deluxe Edition box that some of you may well have ordered and hopefully getting soon, or whether it's the standalone 2-disc, I've listened to all of this stuff. I've got notes on sound quality, pressing quality. I've discovered a few things as well in the couple of weeks since I've had this box that I didn't realise when I did my first opening of it. So I've got some fun things to show you as well. So inside this box that houses all the vinyl in the Super Deluxe, all the records are polylined. I've got polylined sleeves, but there are also sort of picture sleeves for each record as well. One of which I didn't realise when I first opened this is a Magic Eye picture. Do you remember those? I first remember them from the 1990s, where you look at something close but you focus your eyes as though they're in the distance. These reveal some pretty funky images. That is a very 3D image if you can get your eyes right on it. This one, there's something in the middle there. There's something that leaps out 3D in the middle. I can't quite figure out what it is. It might say Lennon, it might not. If you're getting this set and you know what that says on there, please let me know, because I can't quite get my eyes focused right. If you buy the 2LP edition, that gets you the ultimate mix of the album and the outtakes. So the ultimate mix being the new mix of the main album. And the outtakes. So I'm going to focus firstly on that disc, because I think that element will be of more use to more people who are going to be getting that standalone compared to those just getting the Super Deluxe Edition set. So this is that 2-disc version. If you buy the 2-disc standalone version, this is what you'll get. So the cover that you all are familiar with there, and there's the back cover. It's a gatefold, so it opens up, so it's got track information about each track that's on there. I'll just get you a little bit of a close-up of some of it as an example. It's got 2 discs in here, one being the Ultimate Mix, one being the Outtakes. The Ultimate Mix is on an apple label, so we've got side A with the green apple and side B with the cut apple. And for the Outtakes disc, I'm going to talk about what's actually on these discs in a moment and the quality of them. On the other disc, we've got the other discs start to have patterns. Now, I've noticed something about some of these patterns as well. I'm going to give you a little warning now. If you can't handle strobe lighting, then please skip forward a minute or so, because there's going to be some strobes on screen in a second. With some of these discs, if you get... I've got a strobe app on my phone called Strobely, and if you put it at various different frequencies of strobe light, you see the label as it's spinning in different ways. Like at 1 rate of hertz, it's going one way. Switch the hertz, the label looks like it's going backwards. Put it on another setting, and it looks like the label's just not moving at all, which is pretty funky. And that also counts for the Zoey Trope discs as well that are in this Super Deluxe Edition. Really cool effect. I didn't realise. I thought you had to video camera it to actually see the effect on a Zoey Trope disc, but you can use a strobe app if you're okay with strobes, and you get really cool effects when you look at these discs with a strobe light shining at it. Again, change the frequencies up, you'll get different effects coming through, but that looks really cool. So I didn't know that when I did my initial review. So anyway, going back to the Ultimate Mix. So this is vinyl specific, these notes that I've got here. I've listened to it all digitally. I love the sound quality of this digitally. So how is it going to compare on vinyl? The first thing I noticed really obviously was that when we talk about quiet vinyl, that can mean one of two things. It can either mean a lack of surface noise, or it can mean that actually the music's really quiet. And in this case, it was both. Now, I had to really crank my amp up here to get up to my sort of normal listening volume. My amp volume normally sits at about sort of 9 o'clock on a dial. I had to crank it up to sort of at least 10 o'clock and a little bit beyond for it to really open up the sound, because I felt at the normal volume levels, I felt I was lacking something a little bit, and it seemed to be the sort of top end, the more trebly sounds were not really there for me at my normal volume, listening volume. When I cranked it up, it really started to open up. So if you do get the vinyl, you might want to just try turning your volume up louder than you normally would, and then I think that you will definitely get a benefit from that. It was also quiet in the other sense as well. There was very little surface noise on any of the discs that I've got. So I got lucky there, because I know different people tend to have mixed results with that. Some people seem to have a lot of bad luck. Often I seem to get away with it, but it was very quiet for me. Get it cranked up. So on each of these discs, I've focused really on a sort of a couple of key tracks. I'm not going to go through every song on every disc, but here I wanted to listen to Bring On The Lucy, being one of the sort of louder, rockier songs on the album. And I wanted to see how it compared to the CD. So I did a needle drop of the vinyl, and I've compared it to the CD version. And you can see there's a massive difference here. You would expect vinyl to have better dynamics than a digital version, and it certainly does here. So that was good to see. For Meat City, again, I wanted to go with something with a little bit of oomph. There was really nice stereo separation on that song. The opening guitar really cut through well on the vinyl, but again, it needs volume. So I played the album at normal volume, and I was thinking, oh God, it's lacking quite a bit. I played it again at fuller volume, and especially the louder songs like Meat City really had a lot more impact. It seemed to open up the more sort of trebly frequencies. I did find as well later on, when I got to the Evolution disc that I'm going to come to talk to about later on, I've got dual subwoofers in this room, and I thought, I wonder what it sounds like if I turn them off for this album. And for the Ultimate Mixer album and the Evolution documentary album, I found a great benefit if I actually turned my subwoofers off. And I don't think that means that the bass is too much. I think what it really did was it just allowed the higher frequencies that were there to not get overshadowed by the bass. So it's very rare that I turn my subwoofers off in this room, but I did for these albums, and I think it benefited it. So that might be a little tip if you've got subs. Try it with and without. You might notice a difference that you like. I also tried Only People, and the reason why I went to that song, first of all, it's not one of my favourite songs on the album, so I thought, let's see how that sounds. But I'm also very used to listening to the song Dear Yoko on the Ultimate Mixers that came out on the Gimme Some Truth boxes over the last few years. And Only People here, I've talked about this, where I find a similarity now between this song and Dear Yoko a little bit. And I felt that I was getting a similar kind of effect. On vinyl, Dear Yoko sounds stunning on the Gimme Some Truth boxes. It's the highlight for me of those boxes. So I wanted to see how a comparable song would sound. And it did sound really good. It reminded me even more of that song, listening to Only People on vinyl. It does to me sound like 1980 John, 7 years early. So Only People was a big winner for me on vinyl for a song that's not particularly a favourite of mine. So next, if you buy that 2-disc version, your second disc will be the Outtakes. So again, I've picked sort of a couple of key tracks from that I found. Now, what I will say about the Outtakes disc is, of all the discs on vinyl, I think the Outtakes sounds the best. I think it's the best sounding disc there is there. The song Mind Games, title track, excellent soundstage on that. You've got John's voice and a very sort of staccato, stabby keyboard part. They're both up high and centre in the mix, more than I noticed on the digital version. So it feels like John's up here singing and right in the middle. Really nice soundstage that it's got there. I would say the Outtakes disc here, for me, was a step up in sound quality from the Ultimate Mix of the main album. It was clearer. There was more treble, definitely, than on the main album. One Day at a Time was another one that I picked out from the Outtakes. It's got bass and snare working together really well, so I wanted something that's got sort of two very different frequencies going at the same time and having to sort of cope with. That coped really well. And keyboards that are in there as well, again giving it something very different to think about at the same time. So One Day at a Time sounded really good on the Outtakes album. So like I say, that's the 2-disc version, is the Ultimate Mix and the Outtakes. So I think, yeah, the Outtakes album sounds really, really good to me. The Ultimate Mixers, I found I had to turn off my subs. crank it with extra volume and then it allows it to shine. So you might just want to experiment a little with that one. So now we're going to move on to the Elements and the Elemental discs. So a very similar looking package there, but it does make it quite clear that it's Elements and Elemental mixers on the back there. Again, it's a gatefold with plenty of information about the songs inside. Black vinyl, as all of these are, and they've got patterns there where you can maybe, some of you might be able to sort of see the number 9 in there. So again, I've picked out some key tracks. What I did find with these was that the Elements mixers and the Elemental mixers I thought were of a similar quality sound wise. You'll also see me putting these discs onto my platter, so you'll be able to see I've got lucky with flat copies of everything. Again, I seem to often get lucky with that. Some people seem to have nothing but problems with dished vinyl. I have not got any of that in this set. Everything looks to be nice and flat. But I felt that the Elements and the Elemental mixers were of a similar kind of sound quality. So I picked out some key songs here, Tight As. So this was on the Elemental mixers, it's vocal plus acoustic guitar and electric guitar only. John's voice really shines through, very, very nice on that. And all three of those elements are really nicely separated on this vinyl record. Intuition as well, I picked out John's vocal, piano and guitar only. There was less treble here than the digital version, which won't surprise you given some of my comments of the last few minutes. On this occasion, I felt that was a benefit. I thought this song, one of the quieter songs, I think it gave it a warmer feel. And that probably works well on maybe the more intimate, quieter songs on the album, maybe benefit more for me from that slightly dampened treble that I think there is on the vinyl. I think it works better on those songs than it maybe does on some of the rockier songs like Meat City and Bring On the Lucy, for example. So yeah, very, very nice sound quality. I would say it's almost up there with the Outtakes. I still think the Outtakes is best overall. Very nice sounding on the Elements and the Elemental mixers. If you're not 100% sure on the difference between the two still, because we're still all getting used to this, the Elements mixers do just pick out some of the elements of the songs, but it's a fuller sound than the Elemental mixers, which are really sort of pared down and sparse to sort of maybe 2 or 3 elements of the song at most. With the Elements mixers, think of a bit like the Double Fantasy stripped down that we got several years ago. So that's the Elements and the Elemental mixers. Next we have the Raw studio mixers. So again, familiar looking cover on there, and then you've got the track listings all there on the back. Again, it's a gatefold. This is different. This is a single disc. We've got information about the songs again, but there's just a disc in one side here. So this is one of those that looks really funky when you put the strobe light on the centre disc. I'm not going to show you the strobe light now. We did that earlier, so don't worry if you don't like strobes. Not going to show it now, but it really highlights a funky effect if you put that on there. So for the Raw studio mixers, this is interesting, mainly because this is a new concept to us in terms of vinyl. So we've had these before in the Lennon Ultimate Mixers in Imagine and Plastic Ono Band. But listening to these on vinyl takes a little bit of getting used to. So the idea with the Raw Studio Mixers is that it's designed to sort of showcase what the songs might sound like if you were there in the studio, listening in the control room before loads of effects have been added and the final EQ. It sounds like you're in the room, and that's something that we're not used to hearing on vinyl. It took me a little while to sort of tune my ears into it, but once you do, it's really nice. So I picked out here Out the Blue, really clear and nice soundstage between the wide drums and John that was very much centre stage. That worked really well on the vinyl. They sort of replicate this through other songs really. I would have liked a bit more treble on these Raw studio mixers, but again, maybe going back to what I was just saying, maybe that's deliberate. Maybe that was to try and create the effect that you get when you're in the studio. And maybe if they'd have added more treble, that would have defeated the object of trying to get it to sound like you're in the studio. So like I say, once you can tune your ears into what's actually happening there, it does make a lot more sense in your mind. with the raw studio mixers, but they do sound really nice, but take some getting used to. We've then got the Evolution mixers. This is unique in this set, in that things like the Ultimate Mix takes up 1 disc, the Outtakes take up 1 disc, Elemental 1 disc, etc. The Evolution mixers take up 2 discs. Because it's longer versions of the songs, they've taken versions of each song through various stages of its evolution and joined them together. And so you might have sort of 6 or 7 minutes of a song in different forms throughout. So it does take longer, so it's over 2 discs. So again, really funky patterns when you put them with that strobe effect. That again, don't worry, I'm not going to show you. I've showed you it early on. If you've got a problem with strobes, it really does look quite impressive on your turntable. So the Evolution mixers. Now, with these, because the early part of each song is probably like a home demo or quite a rough demo, you don't necessarily get the vinyl quality on the first part of each song because it's just not there anyway. It was a home demo. So it's really the sort of later parts of the song where you get the benefit. Now, this was when I discovered the thing I mentioned earlier about what if I turn my subwoofer off. I found that I was listening to Bring On The Lucy and I thought I'm just going to turn that off, and it was definitely better. And like I say, I think it was because it was maybe just hiding the more trebly elements of the song when I had the subs on. As soon as I turned the subs off and it became in essence a normal 2-speaker hi-fi system, it sounded a lot better. So I was really pleased with that. You might want to turn subs off to give this a try if you have them. So I think that the Evolution mixers, once it gets to the proper studio parts of it, it's then very much like listening to the Outtakes disc, for example. It's that kind of a thing, and pretty much on a par for sound quality as well. I still think the Outtakes disc is just the best of the lot. This isn't far behind it, but of course on each song you're going to have some home demo elements where you're not going to get the benefit on vinyl. But overall, yeah, really nice. I think honestly I doubt that these additional discs will ever be available separately. It's probably one of those things that, once they release it, they then move on to something else, and if you want it on vinyl, it's probably only going to be available in this set, I would imagine. That might all change in the future, and we might all get caught out by surprise. But if you want the Ultimate mixers and the Outtakes, you can get those on a 2-disc edition, just regularly through your record shop, through Amazon, through whoever. We've also got the 2 Zoey Trope discs that you get in the Super Deluxe box set. 2 discs, the first one being the Ultimate mix of the album and the second one being the Outtakes. So in effect it's replicating what you get with the regular 2LP edition if you buy that standalone. But in Zoey Trope form, the Zoey Tropes are never going to sound quite as good. There's going to be a little bit of surface noise, but it's not bad at all. It's very, very listenable. I think the quality of those is far better than what you used to get on the old picture disc albums that were very sort of noisy. They seem to have found a way to get them still sounding pretty good now on these Zoey Tropes. We've also got the last piece of vinyl in here, although it's the first one that you come to when you open the box. So this is the holographic EP, based on John Lennon artwork from 1968, the build around it. I'll just take that lid off, just show you. Hopefully you can see the pattern that reveals itself on there. It's very funky. Again, this sounds pretty good. I don't think that holograph gets in the way of the sound quality. Not that I've noticed anyway. What you've got on there, on side A, you've got the Ultimate mix of Mind Games, the title track. On side B, you've got the single version of Meat City. And then filling out the rest of side A and B is Mellotron Magic Weird Slide Guitar, which is one of the hidden tracks in the CD box set. So it's good to have that on vinyl. So that there covers the remainder of the vinyl in this set that we've not gone through yet. So that's my overview of all the vinyl content, some of which you can buy standalone, some of which is only available in the Super Deluxe box set. I hope that was useful for you. Let me know your comments about the vinyl down below. I'd love to hear from you as always, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying your Mind Games sets that you've either got by now, or I hope you're going to enjoy them if you're about to get them soon. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again very soon. Bye bye.